Thank you for joining us today on Louder Than Green. Today we have a very exciting guest, and if you're building anything sustainable, regenerative, or just smarter than the status quo, you're in the right place. For those of you just joining the podcast, we are Green That Dream, and we specialize in helping businesses not just go green, but flourish. We focus on strategies that support people, planet, and profits by improving operations and managing resources. So if you're ready to take your business to the next level, stick around. And if you want a free growth consultation, head over to greenthatdream.com or just DM us the word growth. Now let's get into it.
Welcome to Louder Than Green podcast. Today's guest is Roy Vella. He is a global executive, deep tech strategist, and serial innovator at the intersection of AI, fintech, and sustainable digital transformation. With the JD from Stanford and decades of leadership across C-suites, VC, and emerging tech, Roy is known for helping high-growth companies turn complexity into scale, operationalizing frontier technologies like AI into real-world outcomes that serve both people and planet. Whether he's advising venture-backed startups or Fortune 100 firms, Roy brings a systems-level view on how to build resilient, high-impact businesses, ones that grow faster because they're smarter, leaner, and aligned with the future. Welcome, Roy.
Thank you, Aimee. Pleasure to be here.
Great. So we'll start with the big picture because you've operated at every level of scale from startups to C-suites. What problems are you most focused on solving right now?
So my current company is called Next Collab, and at the end of the day, if I had to sum it up, I'm trying to give people time back. And so we are the convergence of two trends. That most or many, if not most, meetings are happening in little windows on screens, and LLMs, large language models, what most people now call AI. Although AI is much, much bigger than that, but LLMs is where all the fascination is. In brief, when I say give back time, for the first time ever, we can mine the mountain of unstructured data that is meetings, right? So I am able to do a qualitative and quantitative assessment of meetings. We call it our 4 E's: effectiveness, efficiency, engagement, and experience. There's a methodology and an analysis that's happening behind the scenes that rolls up to what we call a collab score. And in brief, you get what you measure. If you can't measure it, you can't make it better. If you do measure it, you have a shot, right? And really, it's a diagnostic tool. I tell people it's an MRI for meetings. It lets you look inside, see what's working, see what's not working, and make improvements. And it's really a dashboard. We don't do reports. I'm trying to be time saving, not time spending. And on the dashboard is a collab score, and the second main metric is a cost meter. Because we all know that time is money, but when you see it in front of you, that makes an impact. The most expensive organizational asset of any large company is meetings. In fact, I only half jokingly say that the thing that most companies make the most of is meetings. Everything else is a byproduct, comes out the other side.
Right.
Yeah, so that's it really. And it aligns, our mission is amplify human potential, right? So we're trying to help people mine meeting intelligence to make better decisions, quicker decisions. I say if we do it right, it's going to be fewer, shorter, better meetings.
So I love hearing that because meetings can be just soul sucking.
Well, yeah. I mean, then that's the reality. I've yet to hit the person who goes, "What are you talking about?" Our meetings
we love
great.
meetings.
Yeah, tends not to be true.
Right.
And it's not anyone's fault in particular. It's a dynamic of interpersonal relations. I tell people meetings are like snakes. They grow to fill the space allotted. If you give the meeting an hour, it takes an hour. If you give it a half hour, it takes a half hour, right? It's about those metrics, about being able to look inside and see what's working. And I tell people, I don't particularly want to be a doctor either. There's plenty of coaches and mentors and advisors and consultants who are trying to help teams perform better. I am a tool. I am a tool that gives them a diagnosis that lets them look inside and go, here's what's working, here's what's not working, here's how you can make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so great.
And it zooms out, right? I mean, so the meeting is but then I would have a personal collab score, and I might look at it and go, I just shouldn't have meetings in the afternoon. Like my afternoon, or I'm sorry, in the morning. Or for me, it's the morning. I shouldn't have morning meetings. My afternoon meetings score 20 points higher than my morning meetings, right? Yeah. Or a team over time might look at all their meetings and go, Mondays we're in the 60s and 70s. The rest of the week we're in the 80s and 90s. Do we need the Monday meeting, right? Like, you know, the ability to zoom out.
Yeah, when it's...
So the big four metrics would be categorized as effectiveness, efficiency, engagement, and experience. But underneath is all of this academic rigor, right? Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of a team, and Daniel Pink's autonomy, mastery, and purpose, and Eisenhower matrix of important versus urgent. And, you know, did you have an agenda? Did you stick to the agenda? Did you start on time? Did you end on time? What's your participation rate? Like, there's a bunch of quantitative, but frankly, from my perspective, the qualitative is actually the more interesting and valuable, right? So for instance, if I'm doing participation rate, by the nature of the beast, I'm dinging introverts. But there's an introvert who, when they speak, the meeting turns. Like, the meeting focuses on what they say, even though they don't speak very much. That matters. The qualitative is a huge portion of the assessment, right? Like, and that's kind of the magic of LLMs. It understands the context and the content of the meeting. And it's really insightful. It's surprisingly insightful, to be honest.
I bet. It sounds like it. I mean, just being able to look at both the quantitative and qualitative, I think, is very, very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's and that's kind of half the proposition. The other half is the content itself, right? So you think about all of the content of meetings. It's a mountain of unmined data, and the ability to interact with it. Well, I'll give you an example. So someone makes a strategic insight in a meeting, doesn't really go anywhere, doesn't really apply to the meeting per se. But 2 weeks later, the CEO says, has anyone brought up this topic? That person gets a notification. Hey, CEO would like to associate that comment with you. Yes. Hey, we're putting a tiger team together on that. And what you said nailed it. You want to help me with that? Like, right? Like, just the ability and up and down, right? The leadership team might be looking at an acquisition. Now they can say, what does our team think of their team? Every time that company's brought up, it's largely positive and optimistic, and we're impressed, or we're not so much, right? But I mean, just the ability to do that. I mean, for the first time ever, a CEO could say, are our corporate values reflected in our meetings? Do we manifest the values that we claim? Right? Like, fascinating.
So great. So great. Yeah. Because it's like the execution. I mean, are you practicing what you preach?
Are you practicing what you preach? What is even that at a very high level? What's the sentiment of the company now? Like, you know, you could get a weekly, monthly, quarterly sentiment analysis. You can do how concerned are we about these competitors? What are our customers? You know, blah blah blah. Like the amount of just ability to interrogate
data.
Yeah, so it's both intersubjective scoring in terms of helping you make meetings better, but it's also just unlocking. And I think mining is the right word. It's hard to do, but it's worth the effort, right?
It's worth the effort.
You find those diamonds, and that makes it all worth it, right?
Yeah, right. You know. No matter how hard it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've been moving between big organizations and high growth ventures. What have you learned in that process that most leaders are missing?
That's an interesting question. That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I would say so I always am in high growth. And so even in large ventures, I tend to be the tip of the spear. I'm opening up a new geography. I'm opening up a new product. I'm growing a new team. Like, I tend to be the new regardless. The big difference for me is, like, outside, I can always raise more money. There's always someone else who's willing to give me money. Inside, it's a very fixed pie mentality. So my budget is your budget. Like, you know, if you get a big budget, you're taking from my budget and vice versa. Right. So, and I've had that happen in large organizations where they're like, this new thing now, just my budget got smaller, his budget got larger, right? Like, you know, there's a very much a fixed pie mentality that you find in large organizations, because really it's a negotiation of budget allocation. Outside in startups and growth startups, it's much more of a growth mindset. Like, you can, you know, I'm just going to expand the footprint. If I need more money, I'll go talk to more investors, like blah, blah, blah. Right. So there's That's definitely one aspect of it. And then speed. I mean, my biggest challenge being inside has always been speed of execution and decision making, right? Like we used to joke around at RBS, at Royal Bank of Scotland. My team used to joke around that we would say soon, and we meant like next week, maybe next month, and everyone else meant next quarter, maybe next year. Like our watches were in weeks and months, and their watches were in quarters and years. Same words, different intention, right? You know, and but the truth is that's the nature of the beast, right? You know, the larger entities get, the more, for safety's sake, they're slower.
Yeah.
Right? Like I used to tell people, I did a lot of public speaking, and one of my favorite analogies was super tankers. So a super tanker that's fully loaded and at full speed, if they see something within 5 miles ahead, the next order is abandoned ship. They have hit it. The stopping distance is over 5 miles. Within 5 miles, everybody off. We already hit that thing.
Yep.
The other crazy thing, the faster a super tanker goes, the harder it is to turn it. So if I want to move so again, fully loaded at full speed, if I want to turn it 1 degree, so again, 1 degree out of 360 degrees, it takes 14 turns of the wheel. Now, does it need to take 14 turns? No, we could do it so that you turn it 1 degree and it goes 1 degree. They make it turn 14 turns because if you turn any faster than that, the boat is going to flip over and sink. They're making it harder to turn because of momentum, right? So the faster you go, the harder it is to turn. And those analogies are perfect. Like that's large organizations. The bigger they are and the faster they go, the harder it is to turn, and the more your stopping distance and your starting distance, like everything takes more time. It just does. You know, but I think it's amusing. Like physics is physics, no matter what you're doing.
It's true. Yeah, no, you're right. We actually live in a renovated school bus, so our stopping time is a lot longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Experience that firsthand.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, tailgating is a dangerous sport in a larger.
I know. And now I'm super freaked out by tailgating, even in a car.
Yeah, exactly. No, precisely.
Know. Yeah.
So back to your question, like, you know, if you're in a larger organization and you have a entrepreneurial growth mindset, that can be very frustrating.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and
do you find that you are, because you move more expeditiously, that you kind of connect better with smaller organizations then, or?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, okay. So the flip side is resources, right? Like, you know, I had an army of people to do stuff for me at RBS, you know, like, and I'll tell you something. One of the ways I used to get in trouble at RBS is I would do it myself or do it in-house in my team. And they're like, you just did a press release. Like we have a PR department. You can't issue a press release. And I was like, oh, sorry. Oh, you can't do the marketing campaign. I'm like, whoops. You know, so it's a good and a bad. You have a massive resource to get things done, but you also got to be careful. You step on people's toes. You can't blah, blah, blah. Like, so again, the pluses, in my experience, on both sides, the pluses are the minuses. There's good and bad to everything, right? Like, you know, it's a pro and a con. I have an army of a marketing department, but it takes them longer than it would take me, but I got to let them do it because that's just the way it is, you know.
That's just the way it is. Yep.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So it's always a balancing act, I think.
As with everything.
As with everything. Exactly.
So let's dig into some strategy. And I know for you, it's not about trends, it's about execution. You often say that strategy isn't about buzzwords, it's about execution. What's the most misunderstood aspect of business strategy today?
That's it. Okay, so I would think that, in fact, you've alluded to it already, so that strategy is not about ideas for me. I don't think people have new ideas in particular. And I don't mean like no new ideas, but your idea has been had already many times. And the person who wins is a person who's executing against that idea. You know, it's about, you know, finding the way forward and delivering on it. You know, it's, in fact, there's a woman, Lowe's, who does these line art. I just love it. And she has an image of a hand that's holding a light bulb, right? And that's strategy and having an idea. And the next image is execution. And the hand is putting the light bulb into the socket, right? Like having the idea, understanding how to screw it into the socket and use, like that's execution, right? And I learned that early. I tell people, in my early days of PayPal, there were literally 13 PayPals, carbon copies. eBay had Bill Point, Citibank had See2It, Yahoo had PayDirect. Like there were 12 carbon copy competitors, such that there were 13 in the space. How did PayPal win? Execution. Like execution. And frankly, we paid for customers. You used to get $10 to set up a PayPal account, right? And then it went to $5 and then it went to $0, right? And if you sent someone money, you both got $5, blah, blah, blah. Like there was a whole methodology of racing to the elbow. And frankly, also not totally abiding by the law. To do what PayPal was doing, you needed a money transfer license in 50 states. We did not have a money transfer license in 50 states. So Citibank was registered as a bank. They were good to go, but Yahoo was busy out trying to get the licenses, like blah, blah, blah. And PayPal's like, we're getting there, and I'll tell you, it was only when, a couples of attorneys general said people are going to go to prison. They're like, okay, we're going to get our ducks in a row, So, there's always in the early days cutting corners a little bit, like, I mean, not that I'm not advising anyone to break the law, but, it's a balancing act between timing, execution, and speed to market, and so I tell people what people miss in strategy is you think that you spend a ton of time on wordsmithing and the ideas and it really is like, where does the rubber meet the road? The analogy, like you're spending tons of time on the body of the car and you really should focus on the tires, Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't leave that to the last minute.
Yeah. It's right. Well, and that's the thing is, what are the key elements that enable you to execute? Everything else is gravy, comes later,
right. Do you think in this time of intense, I feel like there's so much content and information, do you feel that there is a hindrance somehow to execution?
Well, so the biggest hindrance, I think, hasn't changed at all, and that's people trying to be smart. I tell people, stop trying to be smart. Like A/B testing, everything should be A/B tested. When executives are debating something, I'm like, why are we discussing this? Like, let's just put out all 4 options and see what works. Like, right. And this is part of my, I'm a deep tech geek. I'm all about science. Scientists don't argue about what's right. They test the hypothesis. You put the hypothesis forward, and then you friggin' test and learn. It's a game of iteration. And business is exactly the same. Like if you're not sure what the right answer is, stop trying to be smart. Just go and test. And we live in a world that's big enough that the group that failed, you can say, okay, you know what? We understand you didn't like that. Here's what we're actually going to do. And you give them the good one. It's fine, But test and learn. Like A/B testing should be the defining objective, right, of all the decisions. And that goes for everything. Pricing, colors, branding, blah, blah, blah. Any decision. And you can't stop people from trying to be smart. I mean, they're going to do it no matter what you say or do, but the less they try to be smart and the more they just test and learn, the more likely you are to get to the right answer.
Absolutely. Maybe quicker too.
Yeah, totally.
So how do you think companies should be integrating AI and different kinds of tech and digital tools, not just as like upgrades, but really like as core business levers?
Yeah, I mean, AI, okay, I mean, there's just a deep misunderstanding of AI. And it's not anyone's fault. It's because the foundation models completely oversold themselves. They made it seem like an end product machine, and it's a rough draft machine. And so if I came to you and I said, hey, I got this thing, it's going to save 50, 60, maybe 70% of your time, you'd be like, great, that sounds good. Yeah, I'd like to play with that. However, if I come to you and I say, I got this 100% machine, and then you get 50, 60, 70%, Now you're disappointed. You're like, oh, it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're missing. I'll tell you what I tell my kids, right? The tyranny of the blank page is over, right? Ethan Mollick said it in his book, Co-Intelligence. He's right. You should never look at a blank page again. The machine is a rough draft machine. You give it who you are, who you want it to be, and what you're trying to achieve, and it gets the ball rolling. You're trying to achieve. And for humans, momentum is magic. Once the ball is rolling, you are good to go. You're going to edit it and tweak it and make it your own. Trying to, the idea that you're going to hit enter and hit print is just wrong. Like, that's not what AI is. And also, I would say we accidentally landed on the wrong A and on the wrong I. Artificial sounds fake, not real. And intelligence implies thoughtfulness and correctness. It's really augmented imagination. It expands the possibility set, right? It grows the possibilities and gives you options and gives you new views. So when I talk about how people should be using AI and how they would use it in companies, it's all about an enhancement as a co-pilot. I mean, co-pilot is that is well named in that regard. It's side by side. It helps you accelerate. And, it is not trying to give you the final product. It's trying to give you the beginning product. The time savings is on the front end, not on the back end, in my opinion, And I also think people don't, okay, you and I, let's back up. You and I are auto calibration machines. What do I mean? I mean, we look at each other, we hear accent, we see profiles, and we adjust. If one of us was not native English speaker, this would be a different conversation. We would have different tone, cadence, vocabulary, speed, we adjust for the audience. Mm-hmm. AI, as presently designed, is blind, deaf, and dumb. It has no idea who it's talking to. So what does it do? It does the safe bet. It meets you at the mean. Acts as if you have an IQ of 100, and it acts as if it has an IQ of 100. Not impressive at the end of the day. But any of the foundational models can be whoever you want them to be. So for instance, I can walk up to any LLM and say, I have a PhD in particle astrophysics, and I'd like to discuss quantum mechanics, and you're Einstein. No problem. All of the bots can have that conversation at a very deep level. You and I might not even follow the conversation. But it can certainly do it. And if you don't do that, it's going to literally act at the mean. It's going to say, well, this is what I've heard about quantum mechanics. Like, it's not going to be Einstein, And so this is the magic of the moment for me. I'm like, okay, you have a machine that can literally be whoever you want it to be. Right. So for example, I am a marketeer. I have a definition of my ICP, my ideal customer profile. I can feed it in. Here's who I am. Born, raised, educated. Here's my company. Here's my job at the moment. Here's who I want you to be. This is my ideal customer profile. I want you to be this person in every regard. Do you have any questions about who you are? Okay, let me answer those for you. Okay, great. Do you understand who I am? Yes? Okay, great. All right, here's what I want to do. And I tell people on the 80-20, spend 80% of your time on context, telling it who you are, who you want it to be. 20% on content. Okay, here's the problem I'm trying to solve. Help me solve it. But most people don't do it. They walk on up and they say, and they ask it a question as if it's a search engine. And I'm like, that's just not how the thing works. Like, it's, without context, you're getting an IQ of 100. Right.
So really, we're just, you would say in general, like, people don't really know how to use these tools, right?
Look, people, but it's nobody's fault.
No, it's not.
I'm just saying, but our interaction with intelligence in our lives is completely not it's unintuitive to interact with a machine that way, because I do not walk up to Aimee and say, hey, Aimee, I'm Roy. I was born here. I was raised there. I was educated. And by the way, here's who you are. We don't interact with a fellow intelligence in any way that this one requires, right?
Yeah.
And what's crazy about it is when you do that, you feel like you're talking to someone else. You literally change who you're talking to by articulating who you want it to be. And that's the amazing thing. It can be your customer, it can be your boss, it can be your favorite writer, it can be whoever you want it to be. You just have to tell it.
Yeah.
But that's deeply counterintuitive.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you, what was the name you called it? Augmented what?
Augmented imagination. It's more augmented imagination. I mean, also, especially because it doesn't have cut and paste. It's not trying to be right. It is a word at a time story. It's deciding the next best word based on all the prior words.
Right.
And I mean, I tell people I'm not convinced that this between my ears is not a weighted token model. I am deciding the next best word based on all the prior words that I have encountered. I can guarantee you that I'm not going to use a word that I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not unlike us. It's very similar to us. And which is why I also caveated earlier. I said now, because once it's embodied, once we drop the LLMs into robotic bodies, which we have started to do already, that blind, deaf, and dumb goes away. It walks up to me, it looks at me, it makes an assessment based on everything it sees. It probably does facial recognition, goes out and pulls my profile, blah, blah, blah. The bot starts to change how it interacts. It sees a child and it interacts with the child differently than it interacts with an adult or a grandparent or or I start to speak to it and it interprets my accent and it goes, okay, you're not a native English speaker or blah, blah, Once we start to give it the same tools that we have, hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, it's going to start to become more and more like us, right? Yeah. In that regard.
Yeah.
Which is,
I think that's kind of scary.
I mean, I tell people, look, we have a carbon bias. We have a bit of carbon chauvinism, but it's not far-fetched at all that in this solar system, intelligence is migrating from a carbon organic substrate, to a silicon inorganic mechanical. Yeah. The carbon organic biological substrate of intelligence may move to silicon inorganic mechanical substrate. And I mean, honestly, I don't know if you've read Life 3.0. Max Tegmark, he's a physicist over at MIT. I'm pointing over my shoulder. Max Tegmark wrote Life 3.0. You should read it, but you don't have to read it now. I'm going to summarize. Life 1.0 evolves hardware and evolves software. That's all life. Life 2.0 evolves hardware, but upgrades software. As soon as communication at a distance happened between entities, that's Life 2.0. When a monkey up in the tree starts screeching because a predator's coming and they're alerting the troop, that's Life 2.0, right? Dolphins communicating, whales communicating, us communicating, any organic life form that is communicating with another organic life form over distance, birds, blah, 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 right? So you're upgrading the hardware. And you and I are doing that through language. We are upgrading each other's software through language and through communication at a distance. Life 3.0 upgrades both software and hardware, right? So up to 2, evolution was on the hardware side. 3, and what he says is we're, depending on your perspective, we're already Life 2.5 maybe or greater. You lose a leg, I'll give you a fake one. Hell, I'll replace your heart. We're doing cochlear implants for your ear. There are people replacing eyes right now. Well, there have been face transplants. We basically have come right up to the top of the ears. We haven't done the brain yet, but that's what Neuralink's about. Neuralink is how do we upgrade the brain? So the idea that we move from a carbon substrate to a silicon substrate, I mean, not far-fetched. Like, you just look at the trend line and you go, yeah. And truthfully, I mean, so I was an EMT. I worked in an ambulance for a bit. We are very soft, squishy creatures. No matter how hard and durable you think you are, you encounter anything else in nature and you're going to lose. Like, we were talking about tailgating and car, oh my God. Like,
yeah.
And, you go, hey, I'll give you a replacement. And if any parts break down, I'll replace those. And, I mean, not everyone wants to do that, for sure. And it's going to be a while, but it's happening. It's already, we're well down the road for that to be a possibility,
Right.
And I think there'll be a mix. I think there'll be people who are, I mean, there already are. I mean, the Paralympics are going to pass the Olympics in terms of, right? I mean, they already fight about the blade length of legs. They're already having conversations in the pool. Why are you making me put on a leg? I want to put on a fin, right? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, those are upgrades.
Yeah, we're blending those lines for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Interesting. So let's talk about the intersection of profit and sustainability, where smarter systems can serve both ideally, right? So what are the biggest missed opportunities for profit through efficiency, especially in kind of resource heavy or legacy industries?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is that the reality is we have a problem with the way we measure things, all in. So the economics of the world is a growth metric. It's all about up and to the right. The way the stock market works, the way we look at corporate performance, the way we look at personal performance, up and to the right. Grow, 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 grow. We do not value or measure anything circular. A circular economy, sustainability, and reusability, the classic reduce, reuse, recycle, you don't get a score for that. You don't get a good score for that, right? Like that's not something that's valuable. The value is up and to the right. And the problem is the demographic cliff that's coming. And I tell people, I kind of don't understand why this isn't the main conversation that everyone's having right now. Most of the first world is under the replacement rate. We are not replacing ourselves. 2 adults are having 1 kid or no kids. Not in the emerging economies, but in the first world economies. Almost all of Europe, the US, China totally whiffed on that with the one-child policy. They are trying to pay people to have more children, and people are like, yeah, no, I'm okay. And we are going to hit peak population in the next 20-ish years from all the estimates that I see, right? And that means everything's got to change because there's going to be an older population relying on a smaller, younger population, and growth in terms of economics is going to go out the door, right? And so we need to start to, and most people, by the way, think you should be talking about the effects on climate and all of the planetary effects, but I'm just saying fundamental human systems around economics are going to break when the demographic cliff really hits. I know this is a little contrarian, but I think we're going to solve climate for AI, and I mean that the energy demands of AI are such that we're going to solve the climate problem. We're going to get better, cheaper, faster sources of energy to power AI, and that's going to deal with the climate crisis.
I could believe that. I think there's a motivator. There's a motivator.
It's a motivator.
People are motivated by money and by opportunity.
100%. Yeah. We need the energy to run our bots. We need to get more cheaper, faster, better energy, and that is by definition going to be more renewable and more organic. It's going to be wave energy and wind energy and solar energy, geothermal, and we're going to start to really look much more broadly than hydrocarbons. And the reason is we need the power. We need the extra power at a cheaper price, Yeah. But I think the demographic thing is a real issue. There are organizations that give ratings and rankings. How much of this laptop is recyclable, renewable, reusable. Like there are, but that's still a side note. It's not the main note. Yeah,
pennies in the bucket.
Yeah,
so to speak.
Yeah, and it's because we still rely on growth. We think up and to the right is going to keep happening for a while. But as soon as that starts to peak out, you're going to have to value something else. You're going to have. Really what it comes down to is the difference between evaluating a closed system and an open system. And we have just ignored the reality that we're in a closed system.
Right.
We imagine and act as if we're in an open system. Up and to the right will continue ad infinitum. But the reality is we live in a very, very closed system that is a loop. And the reason we don't see it as a loop is that we send our shit overseas. We take our garbage and our right? We totally do. Like that is what's
all goes away.
Yeah. Our mountains of refuse, be it electrical, be it clothes, be it whatever, we ship it overseas. We out of sight, out of mind. Believe me, if we kept our garbage, we would have a very different perspective on closed loop versus open loop, right? I tell people it's a fun exercise because you see people's faces. Look around where you are at the moment. Everything came out of the earth. Like everything you're looking at. Nothing arrived from Mars. Nothing arrived from outer space.
Right.
Like All of this emerged from the earth in one form of another. We cut it down, we shaped it, we honed it, we melted it, we smelted it, we did all sorts of stuff. This is all basically earth, and it all goes back into the earth when we're gone. Mm-hmm. There's a phenomenal, it was a documentary, I think it's called, it was a BBC, or maybe it was like History Channel, it was like Life After Us. And what they did was fascinating. They said, okay, imagine all the people disappear. We don't know why. There's no people around. They went to all these different scientists, anthropologists, paleontologists, metallurgists, you name it. And they said, okay, a day, a week, a month, a year, 10 years, 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years. Everything melts back into the ground. Like literally, there will be no trace of modern civilization in 1,000,000 years. And in fact, they said in the thing, they're like, there could have been a very advanced a civilization on this planet, and you wouldn't know it 1,000,000 years later.
Yeah. Yep.
And we think of things as permanent. We're like, oh, that's metal. No, metal is rock that it's a mineral that will melt back into the earth. And what's crazy is how fast it happens. Like, so within a week of the disappearance, whatever you want to call it, all of the subways on the planet fill up with water. They all go underwater. Why? Because they're constantly being pumped out. They're all under the water table.
Yeah.
We're in a constant state of pumping them out, I mean, it's just, and the only reason I'm telling this story is that you got to sort of zoom out a little bit and realize that no matter how permanent or how you perceive our use of resources, it's all very temporary. It's all going to melt back into the ground, and it doesn't take very long for that to happen. And the point being is going back to where we started. This is a closed system. Nothing much enters or leaves over any appreciable amount of time. And so you got to start to pay attention to it. Again, if we kept our electrical refuse, all the laptops and phones and televisions and all that stuff, if it didn't leave the United States, we would have a very different perspective on garbage.
And a big problem.
Yeah.
Bigger problem.
Well, recyclability would become a much more pressing issue. And I think, a lot of things
would have to change.
Yes, a lot of things would have to change. Well, we would force it. We would say, you need to be able to okay, let's put it this way. If we said, Apple, when your materials reach end of life, you have to be able to take them back and use them. You can't throw them away. Holy shit. Like everything would change,
Yeah.
If you did that to automobiles and electronics and clothes, and if you made the producer have to take back their products at end of life, holy moly, that would be a very different Yeah.
I mean, have you worked with organizations that have really done well at measuring their circularity with their service or product?
I would say Patagonia is pretty good at that. There are definitely companies that have that in their ethos, that they have a more closed network circular view of the world. But they're few and far between. I mean, it's less than 1% of companies, it's I'd say it's fairly uncommon.
Yeah. But it's, well, and actually this kind of leads me to my next question is like an example of where smarter systems, and by smarter systems, I kind of think like a circular economy. I don't think that's, we have made it smarter. I think it's the acknowledgement, right, of it being a circular system because that's the way our life is, or our systems are.
Yeah.
But there are examples, right, of where those systems are leading to both financial and environmental wins.
Yeah, completely. But it's about people valuing it, right? Like the consumer has to value it.
Well, I did want to ask you a little bit more because you talked about kind of moving fast and growth. So I'm just curious, when a company wants to grow fast without burning out their team or their values, where should they start?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I feel really strongly about, I don't know if you ever read Daniel Pink's book, Drive. Drive is about what it says on the tin. What drives us? What keeps us going and motivated? And the summary is very simple. It's autonomy, mastery, and purpose. AMP. And what amps us up is having autonomy around how we spend our day. I mean, I'd say, growing fast, growing period is about authenticity for me, right? Like the only way you can grow is by the team being clear and authentic with each other and delivering against shared objectives. Like if you, I tell people like expectations are mutually set, right? Like
Mhm.
if you as a manager set expectations for someone, you need to confirm that they concur completely with your expectations,
Right.
and vice versa, and you never want to sort of over commit if you don't think you can deliver it. Burnout is poorly set expectations, in my opinion. All right, like that's because there's just a lack of alignment, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's also management's job to figure out how to help, right? Like
Right.
my job as a manager is to get things out of your way. What's in
Mhm.
your way between A and B? We've agreed we want to get to B. What is preventing you what's slowing you down? What's the long pole in the tent, as they say? And then my job is to figure out how to get it out of your way.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Yeah, and
How do,
so I think the culture has to be one of transparency and authenticity and being clear. You know,
yeah.
um, yeah,
How do you how do you navigate those those types of things when you're looking at expectations and perhaps you have not so clear kind of roadmap going from management down to the maybe the people that are integrating the solutions. Um,
uh,
how do you deal with
not so
those
clear
challenges?
roadmap. Meaning what? You mean the directive is getting lost in middle management or something? Or
Well, yeah, just like you're saying, right? Like the clear directives are not, or the alignment, right? And so some I think about it as right, like management has this idea of doing something, and then the actual like implementation isn't doesn't really work, right? And
sure,
so how are we managing those expectations?
yeah. I mean, look, I am not a fan of the game of telephone that
Yeah,
happens
oh, no.
in large organizations. I mean, because that's fraught with disaster, right? You're gonna translate, the objective three times down. Like, get the people in the
Mm,
room who need to be in the room between the vision of what needs to happen and who's actually executing on it.
right.
you
I mean,
know,
your tool probably really helps with that, right? With the meetings and
Well,
the
I would hope, yeah. I mean, it helps things be more efficient and effective, I mean, and make sure that
right.
people are engaged and that it's a positive experience. Like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and the flip side is also true. Like, we often have senior people in a room that they don't need to be in. I mean, how
Yeah.
many times has a senior leader been in a room going, "Why am I here? Like, you guys figure it out. Like, I'm good." Like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
pushing decision making down as far as possible is the objective, right? So that people can demonstrate
Right.
their own autonomy and mastery around their topic. You know,
Right. Right. Okay,
yeah,
cool. Um, Alrighty, so let's as we wrap up, let's look forward because you're always scanning the horizon.
yeah.
What tech or business model trend do you think will have the biggest eco pro impact in the next 3 to 5 years? Like where are we with environmental, like the profitability, I guess, is on the impact in terms of those trends.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question AI is going to have a massive impact.
Hmm.
And it's less about replacing people and it's more about accelerating people. I mean, as I said, our mission is amplify human potential, and this is a massive tool to do that, right? It is
Hmm.
about
Hmm.
and I would tell people, like, if you're in an organization where they're talking about AI as a means of reducing cost, well, they're not an organization that's going to last very long. Like, um,
Yeah.
we're all in competitive industries. The place you want to be is the place that has a growth mindset that says, okay, so now we can accelerate what we are able to execute. Like, the manager you want to be with says, okay, so we could bump our productivity 50% and put everyone on a 4-day work week. Now we're talking, and the humans will be in the loop for the foreseeable future. We're not this idea of total AI autonomy to get things done. That's a ways off. But in some regards, there will be, right? The first thing we did in factories was automate anything that was mindless. And the truth is, again, busy work. We have a word for it already. Anything we call busy work, that's machine work. The other stuff goes to the humans, right?
Yes,
You shouldn't
absolutely.
time with busy work anymore.
So on that note of talking about AI, do you think it's possible for AI to be green?
I think we're going to solve climate because of AI.
Okay,
I think
cool.
the energy demands are such that people. I mean, look, friggin' Microsoft bought 3 Mile Island.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Yeah.
like the energy demands of AI are going to be why we finally get off our ass and use all of the assets we have: geothermal and wave and wind and solar and nuclear, like all of the
hmm
and not because it's clean, because it's
Yeah.
high volume, high efficiency output of electricity. Like we're gonna,
Okay.
do I wish that we would have done it for other, for
Yeah.
other reasons? Sure. But the reality is we're doing it because we have AI energy demands that far exceed our capacity.
Right.
And
It's
so,
I guess we just needed some sort of incentive besides like make the world a better place.
yeah, yeah, no, I think the kick in the pants is I want to talk to my bot and, we don't have enough energy to do that. And so
Yeah.
we're going to use
Let's
all the
figure it
energy
out.
available. And look, even so, the other thing to say is not only is AI going to be the causal reason, but AI
Mhm.
itself is going to help solve the problem. Like
Yeah.
I tell people LLMs, most people say AI, they mean large language models.
Right.
That's cute. That's nothing. The AI that's happening in science right now is unbelievable. It is off the charts. Like we are making leaps and bounds in science now, and it's missing most people's radar. Like, but if you look at my
hmm
LinkedIn, half of the posts are science because
hmm
it's a freaking miracle. Like literally, I mean, what is science? Hypothesis and then iteration, iteration, iteration. We have
hmm
a magic scalable iteration machine now
Yep.
that is
Yep.
that is able to iterate at a level that is just unprecedented in every regard. And it
Yep.
is hitting freaking everything: biology, biochemistry, anthropology, astrophysics. Like, pick a science. Like, AI is
Yeah.
changing everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and energy is going to be one of those things, right? The energy
hmm
solution. We are going to have all sorts of new things that come out of that emerge from scale processing, from what
Yeah.
neural networks allow us to do at scale.
Yeah.
And so I think both of those two things, one causal and the other as a source of inspiration, are going to solve the climate problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I have to agree with you. I think that's we're finally getting the a big enough carrot
Yeah,
to get
exactly.
us figured out.
100%. Exactly.
Uh, yeah. So, yeah, just to wrap it up, I mean, and I've been asking everybody this, what does a regenerative business look like to you? What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, I tell people the we're going to have to start to have a sustainable regenerative view of the world for only one reason, in my opinion: the demographic cliff. We
hmm
we the At the moment, everything is measured on growth, up and to the right. Everything goes up and to the right. That worked for the last 100 years because
hmm
population was going up and to the right,
hmm
right? So you always had more workers, more consumers. Everything was off the back of population growth. As
Mm-hmm.
population starts to peak out, which by the way has happened, we know that. We know everyone who's going to be 35, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you can no longer evaluate up and to the right as the metric. It has to be a circular evaluation. How much of what you put out did you take back in to put out again? Like, how
Mm-hmm.
much of the sustainable cradle to cradle stuff are you doing? That becomes the metric of value, not up and to the right. And you know, I describe the demographic cliff to people as that point where all the water has left the shore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's tsunami. Tsunami, you're at the beach and all of a sudden the water seems to just go away. That's because
Uh-huh.
the wave is coming. And the demographic
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
cliff has happened. We know, like, almost the entire first world is under the replacement rate. And
Right.
as meaning two adults have two children at least, right? No,
Right.
we have two adults having one children or no children. The
Yeah.
one child policy is still materially damaging China. They
Yeah.
cannot get they're trying to pay people to have children and they're not doing it. I mean, seriously, like,
Yeah.
it's a real, it is a cliff
Mm-hmm.
that we're going to run into.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to change our economic structures. It has to change everything. And
Yeah.
so regenerative, sustainable, cradle to cradle has to become the new metric of success. You
Yeah.
know, it's about how efficiently do you reuse and recycle and
Right.
reduce, and not how much up and to the right. You know, it's just not.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is, as countries get affluent, we know all the things that happen. They have less children. They don't accept. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, by the way, to be very clear with everyone, like, the reason we don't have to do circular and sustainable is because we ship our garbage overseas. Like, we
I was gonna
live,
say we don't take care of it.
we literally don't even see it. Like, if we had to keep our garbage, if these emerging markets, when they stop accepting our garbage, which they do at the
Mm-hmm.
moment,
Mm-hmm.
things are going to have to change again. There would be piles of electronic garbage and clothes and furniture. Like, and it's incredible to me. Most Americans have no idea. Like, we take our garbage, we ship it to markets that are not as advanced, and they mine it. We ship them our goods, and they mine our garbage, and that's not going to be sustainable as you know, as all the tides rise up too, right? So
Yeah.
I think all of it's going to change. I mean, this is a closed system, and
Yeah.
we've been deluding ourselves that it's not.
Not. Yeah. Well, and I like that you reiterate that circular. It's a circular system. It's a closed loop.
I tell people, wherever you are right now, in your office, in your home, in the library, whatever, look
Yeah.
around. Everything you
Yeah.
see came out of the earth. Very,
Mm-hmm.
very little
Mm-hmm.
has entered or left the earth. I mean, you know, but we have this weird
Yeah.
illusion that, like, oh, we send stuff off to the garbage and it disappears. We like, no, nothing disappears. And the
Yeah.
other, there's a great program, not to restart anything, but there's a great program called Life. I think it's called Life After Us. I think it was a BBC
Oh yeah,
documentary.
some documentary
Yeah,
series.
that basically looked at, they got a bunch of scientists and they said, okay, all the humans disappear. We don't know why. They're gone. What happens after a day, a week, a month, a year, 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, a million years? And
Yeah.
modern, everything you see goes back into the earth. It just
Right, right. Yeah.
goes straight back into the planet. And in fact, they
Yeah.
said in it, it's not far fetched at all that you could have a very advanced space going civilization on this planet that there's no trace of.
Wow.
It all just melts back into the earth. The only
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that survive are in dry, not windy places. So the pyramids, right?
Yeah.
You know, but even the pyramids are getting worn down. In
Right.
100,000 years, there won't be anything left to the
Mhm.
pyramid,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're like, and all the modern stuff, plastics and metals and
Yeah.
wood and all that all just melts right back into the ground. No trace.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
It
Yeah.
is kind of crazy. And to think about what yeah, it could have been here before, right? Like
Right? Yeah.
long before. So
Totally. Totally. Sorry, I
crazy.
went on a riff. I
Um,
don't even remember where we started.
no, that's okay.
Yeah.
I was just way back in what's the regenerative business, but that's okay. We're
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. No,
We're
but
good.
again, it's a closed system is the point, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
we love in the quote first world Western world
yeah.
to
To
delude
not.
ourselves that the trash just disappears. It's like no, 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 no.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah, yes.
soon enough they're going to stop
Yeah,
taking it for
I
sure.
know. Well, they should. They should.
They should. Yeah, exactly. That'll wake us
They
up.
absolutely should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, cool, Roy. Well, hey, where can people connect with you to either learn more about your work? Also, is
Sure.
there anything else you want to share just to close this up?
Yeah. I mean, I'm blessed with a very uncommon name. So I'm easy to find. You just Roy Vella
Yes.
anywhere. You take out the space, and that is my tag everywhere. LinkedIn, Gmail, whatever,
Yeah.
wherever you want to look, I'm easy to
Yeah.
find. If you find
Yeah.
another Roy Vella and he's older, that's my dad, and we have different middle names, so I'm not a junior, but whatever. You can find me very easily.
Yes.
Um,
Nice.
Next collab, we, the again, it's about the convergence of these trends, and it's a fascinating time. I think there's a little piece on LinkedIn called "Exponential Everywhere" that's tagged to my profile that talks just about these exponential curves. And I'm always happy to talk about AI and the future and sustainability
Nice.
to anyone who wants to chat. Sure,
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Roy. We really appreciate having you on the podcast today, and we look forward to chatting again more with some more fun stuff about AI in the future.
sounds good, Amy. All right, terrific.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Louder Than Green. Every guest we feature and every story we share is a reminder that sustainable business is not just about what you do, it's about how you do it. I'm incredibly grateful for this community, for everyone building differently, leading with integrity, and turning up the volume on what matters most. You can find more episodes and join the conversation at www.greenthatdream.com. And remember, regeneration is a practice. Make yours heard. Do the work, share the mic, be louder than green.